CalJam Network is your all-access pass to CalJam all year long. The site hosts hundreds of videos and endless chiropractic content. The network is a great resource for anyone passionate about chiropractic health. Visit this newly renovated CalJam streaming service at caljamnetwork.org.
All right, Billy D here, the Billy D live show with God, the beautiful and very intelligent, just beautiful. Lindsey Mathews, sorry, I'm just kidding. I can't get over it. Why are chiropractors so beautiful? I always want to know that. Because we're so vibrant with life.
We're healthy.
So we go way back.
Yeah.
I mean, you were coming here when you were like a first termer or something?
Yeah, way
and it
back.
seems like it was just yesterday. We were just
like,
saying that, you know?
2006.
So, and then you went through the whole DCS kind of indoctrination, I'll call it.
Other education.
The kind of real education.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think that helped you go through school?
Well, can I start?
Yeah, you say whatever you want to say.
All right, so I moved out to California in 2006, started chiropractic school, and I want to back up a little bit because a lot of people don't know why or what made me turn chiropractic.
Yeah.
I went on a medical mission trip during like my 4th year at A&M, and I went to
Texas A&M?
Yeah.
You're from Texas.
Texas A&M.
Okay, the Aggies.
That's right. So I went to Tanzania, Africa, and at this time I was slated to go to medical school. Like I had done the MCAT, was gonna do the interviews, and everything was like on par to go to med school. And signed up for this medical mission trip to Africa, left the day after Christmas, and I don't know what made me do this, but I was sitting in my advisor's office. I think I saw an elephant, and I was like, that looks dope, let me go.
Right.
So we were there for about 2.5 months, and
oh, wow.
Yeah, and we hiked all over. We would go to like remote villages and find people and do basic triage. And we had,
okay, what's basic triage?
like, you would auscultate them, you would take their blood pressure, you would check their pulse, kind of do like an overview,
all right.
just like basic stuff like that. And the only overseeing doctors that were with us was an eye doctor and a medical doctor. So based on whatever our findings were, it was some kind of prescription of something or eyeglasses. And this mom brought her son to me, and this was like a month in, and she had like walked 6-7 miles to come to the clinic.
Wow.
And she brought her like 6th or 7th son to me, and he was around 6 or 7 years old, and she was like, he's paralyzed on one side of his body and he has seizures. And I was like, well, you know, I'm like 21, 22 years old, and I was like, well, I have no idea what to do with this.
Right.
And
now you do.
Now I do.
Yeah, of course.
But at that time, when she said that, and like he was fine, and like beautiful spirit, like warm, energy was great, and I like something just hit me right there, and I walked outside with my translator, and I was like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, because the overseeing doc just wanted to like prescribe a sedative for the kiddo for his seizures. And
what else can they do?
Right.
Right.
So, but in that moment, like I knew, I was like, pills aren't the answer. I don't
No!
know what is, but I can't do this. So at that time, like I didn't have a cell phone, I didn't have anything. I called my stepdad, got a calling card, went to the only payphone like near where we were, and I called him and I was like, look, I can't do the med school thing. It's not for me. And he was like, well, you're about to graduate, so you better figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Long story short, I talked him into letting me come home for like 3 months, and I waited tables, and I went back and visited this chiro that helped me out through high school.
And who was that?
His name's Dr. Stamps. He's still in practice
Cool.
in New Braunfels, Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never knew you were from Texas.
Yeah, heck
you
yeah.
You don't have much of an accent, though.
I do when I visit there.
Yeah, I probably do too.
But yeah, I shadowed him and I was like, this is dope. Like, you're healing people with your hands. This is what I want to do.
Right.
And I applied to, like, me, naive, like, throughout the whole entire life.
Yeah.
So I applied to Parker and I applied to, at the time, I guess it was called LACC. And I'd never been to the West Coast. So I was like, let's pack up the car. Let's go to the West Coast.
And who's let's? Just you? Or?
Just me. And my brother drove out here with me, but he took a plane flight back to Texas.
Yeah.
So we ended up in Los Angeles, California, and I thought I was going to go back at some point, but I'm still here.
Yeah?
Yeah. So
it's kind of hard to leave California, though, I think.
It is, but Austin, Texas is so great.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you on that. But there's nothing like the ocean, though. So how did you ever, so you started school.
So I started school, and, you know, chiropractic schools, the first year is like basic sciences and stuff like that.
Right.
And going to A&M encouraged me to explore the other education, because A&M is big on participating outside of school. So whenever there were talks and speakers on campus, like, I would try to go at Southern California University of Health Sciences.
Just call it LAC. It's easier that way.
So one such speaker was you.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, what's this Billy D guy? And I remember some of the older term kids were like, oh, you got to go see him. He's great. And
I'm banned from there now, for obvious reasons.
I don't think
You're
I'm
probably
allowed
banned
back.
there, too.
Yeah. So I went and I saw you at lunchtime, and I was like, this guy's got fire. Like, I'm into that.
Yeah.
So then came down here, signed up to be a patient.
Right.
And I was like, let me figure out what he's all about. And, I mean, the rest is history. I kind of attended DCS when I could. And
right. And DCS is our philosophy group.
Yeah.
That's for chiropractors.
Yeah, and I think what I took away from, like, I think everybody, you meet people and you take away something. They give you a gift. And I think what I took initially was that no matter what happens in school, like, let your fire burn.
Right.
And, like, I don't know if you realize how much that meant to me, but for sure it was a great impact on, like, don't get stuck in school. Like, do what you're called to do in this life. And, man, school will suck you in and suck the life out of you.
It sucked the life out of me. I mean, I know that. And I didn't figure it out for, 2 or 3 years after school.
Well, and that's what I was telling Mary Jane. It's like the first 2 or 3 years after school, you're like trying to make a buck. You're doing this, and then it's like, whoa, what was our intention in the first place? Like, where are we going?
All right, so now you got this birthfit thing going,
yeah,
I mean, which sounds really cool. It sounds like it's exploding. Why don't you show everybody breastfeeding and skateboarding are not a crime, okay?
Nor is weightlifting.
No, or surfing, right?
Or surfing.
But they should make vaccines a crime, but we're not going to get into that tonight. We might lose a few people. Watch the numbers drop right after I say that.
Right.
So how did you get into this whole birthfit program?
So after school...
You said you went to get a doula degree after school.
Yeah, it's not really a degree. It's just certification.
Okay.
Yeah, so long story short, when I graduated, I got hired to work on set, like with certain actors, actresses, and travel the world. And one actress came to me and she was like, I need to have a baby in this off period of whenever my TV show is not happening and this. And I was like, I don't know anything about babies. I don't know anything, but nature doesn't work that way. Like, I know that.
Right. She wants to have it like at 5 months instead of...
Yeah. I was like, I don't know how this is going to play out. And at that time, I grew up with asthma. And like, that's one of the reasons why I initially went to a chiro back in the day. But it had been something that landed me in the hospital, like as a kiddo, for like year after year. So I wrote off like having a baby, because for me, growing up, in middle class America, you have the baby in the hospital and it's painful and that's it. So I was like, F that, I'm not having a baby. You got to go to the hospital. I'm not stepping foot back in a hospital. I'm doing all my hippy dippy stuff and I'm going to live my life that way. Well,
hippy dippy stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
I think hippy dippy means we just kind of live congruent to nature.
Yeah.
It's like
you realize that now.
We're not obsessed by orthodox bullshit.
So when she started bringing this up, it made sense to me. She goes, well, I'm not pregnant yet, but I want to be pregnant. And I think it's a good idea to get my body right, my diet right. And I was like, well, Yeah, that only makes sense. Like, who
Wow,
are
that's
you?
rocket science. I mean, everything we do is not really, it's pretty
It's
much.
common sense.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay,
Like people want to see
I'm
your
down.
research. Well,
I feel better. Like, if you do chiropractic, if you eat well,
right. It's just
you
like
move well.
it's so frustrating sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so, long story short, we agreed to like trust each other through this journey, and I signed up for every doula training, every hypnobirthing thing, every sacred pregnancy, postpartum care. I was determined to learn everything for this woman because she put the trust in me. And I came back to her and I was like, I don't think the answer is to have a baby in the hospital.
Good.
She goes, wait, what? And I go, well, from the research that I've done, and like I had done a lot of research by that time, and I was like, if you want to recover quickly, the best way would be to have a vaginal birth with no drugs involved. And the odds of that happening in a hospital are slim to none. So you might want to look for a birth center or a midwife. And she was like, really? You can do that? And I was like, I'm like almost 90% positive.
Right.
Like, and I'm still operating in like uncharted territory for me.
Right.
And so then we started interviewing midwives and doulas, and then that just became like a cascade of effects. And the more I read and the more I researched, I was like, oh my God, maybe they're like, you can have a baby out of the hospital, and this is where I want to have kids, and maybe other women want to have kids like this, and people have choices, and they don't even know they have choices.
Well, you look at the rest of the animal kingdom, not that we're animals, but we really are.
We
can't
are.
exclude ourselves from our own environment. But I just like, I look at, like I was in, on a boat in the Maldives once, and all these dolphins show up. I think, how many of those dolphins had their and they're very, I think they're smarter than us. Because they're more tapped into innate. They're using their innate brain. But I mean, how many of those dolphins had their babies in hospitals? It's just we've been so conditioned and brainwashed through the whole medical propaganda and the vaccines and all the drugs and the surgeries and the C-sections. And like you said, you're just not going to come out of the hospital. It's not usually going to be a pretty sight.
Right. And there's a Dr. Michel Odent. He's a famous French OB-GYN and has done tons of research. And he says a lot of brilliant things. But one of them is like, we're the only species taught to fear birth.
Exactly.
Like, what? Like, dolphins don't fear birth, or cats and dogs don't fear labor and delivery.
They're just tapped into the universe, man, and we've got so much hope. Well, I mean, this is, it's almost like vaccines. I don't know if it's quite as controversial, but hospital versus home birth, you probably get a lot of haters there.
Well,
or do you not?
Well, the thing where we come with birthfit is this is the woman's choice, and we present all the information. Like, you do what you want to do, but if you're gonna, like in our consultations, if you're gonna have a birth in the hospital, arm yourself with knowledge, education, a doula, a team, like, because unfortunately, birth in America is business, and you're the consumer, and you speak with your money and who you decide to be on your team. So make that known. Like, don't just stand by and take a passive role in your transition there.
Right. And if any of you out there on the internet and in the Facebook land have any questions for Lindsey, this is a great time to ask them. So fire them at us.
Yeah.
All right. So do you ever get haters though?
Yeah, like it's funny you say this. Just the other day we posted something on Instagram, and it was pretty rah-rah, and it was like, here's to the mom that is breastfeeding, here's to the mom that has to use formula, here's to the mom that's moving, here's to the mom that says no to vaccines. And somebody, like, there's one person that commented, everything about this is great, but the vaccines. And then, so it's interesting because
why is it so hard for people? I think it's just they're so brainwashed.
It's fear and scarcity. And
no, I think a lot of it's ego too. They would never want to admit that they're wrong. I think that's what
it was.
It
so
is.
Bizarre, but it was cool to see the rest of the birthfit community, like
just pile on.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm not giving my baby a Hep B vaccine. They're not a prostitute,
right? Or intravenous.
Yeah,
it's shooting up on
one
smack
person after the other was just like, no, this is my choice, and I should be able to entertain that. Yeah.
Right.
So we get that, and then sometimes we get like, not so much anymore about the fitness stuff, So
you're basically really getting them ready for birth.
yeah, so birthfit, we have 4 pillars: fitness,
Okay, 4 pillars.
fitness, nutrition,
Okay.
chiropractic, and
Okay.
mindset.
Okay, which is pretty much rocket science again, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Why would we want to have the pelvis and the whole birth, you know, all the muscles and the nerves? Why would you want to have that totally connected? I mean, it's not. It's just amazing to me how people still will go to a hospital and have all the drugs, and it's just mind-boggling that they can't see how simple it should be.
Yeah, and you know, if we, as a species, if we weren't able to reproduce, we wouldn't be here. Like, we wouldn't have survived as a species. Like, it just is, there's the common sense right there. But
that's rocket science right there.
Yeah.
How did we get here? Oh,
Yeah.
we've all been here since hospitals, and you know, everybody got vaccinated before.
Yeah, and the birth process got moved to the hospitals, you know, in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So what were, like, less than 100 years ago.
Now, I heard this from Jeannie Ohm, who's like
A legend.
that they are basically breeding out the capacity for women to even have a vaginal birth, and they're trying to push more and more C-sections. It's going to make people more and more dependent on C-section.
Yeah, well, Dr. Michelle Odent, if you're American or Texan, you might say Michael, but it's pronounced Michelle.
Is he French?
Yeah.
Okay, how did I know?
So he's written a couple good books, and one of them is Childbirth and the Future of Homo Sapiens, and that talks about how, like with the 1 in 3 C-section rate like we have right now in America.
Unbelievable to me.
Yeah, and so in some states it's like 37, 45%. Like it's bananas.
And then why is it higher? Is it due to affluency in insurance coverage, or is it because people are more dumbed down in those areas? What do you think?
Well, so back up. So if we keep doing that 1 in 3 C-section, we're naturally going to select against our oxytocin system.
Right.
So that we won't even have the capacity to give birth and experience that anymore.
Well, I think that's why we've seen, as I say this all the time, basically a lot of people are going to select themselves genetically off the planet through just the survival of the fittest. And I think chiropractic, I know people that lead a chiropractic lifestyle, or whether you like the word chiropractic lifestyle or not, because I get haters about that.
Yeah.
But if you lead a chiropractic lifestyle and you don't vaccinate, and you eat healthy, and you exercise, I mean, real heavy common sense stuff, you're going to have a more vibrant life, and you're going to be able to
operate at a higher level.
Right, and you're going to be able to, I mean, that's how genes work.
Yeah. So, like, and you asked the question, like, why is that in some places? Like, so hospitals are owned by insurance companies.
Right.
And malpractice dictates a lot. So if a doctor if he ends up choosing a C-section over anything else, they're not going to fault him or her for choosing a C-section in a malpractice suit.
Okay.
So that's kind of where America's
So
at right now.
basically, doctors do more C-sections to cover their asses. Basically, what it is, not anything to do with the health of number one, because we know that having a C-section is going to basically screw up the microbiome of the baby.
Yeah, the microbiome is going to be different. Even the moms, like, there's so much emotional connections to it, and the scars and everything.
Right.
But even if you want to look at C-sections, if they could let baby decide, like let mom go into labor naturally, then you have all those good hormones, and then do the C-section there. But nobody wants to do that. They want to plan around their golf time, their vacations, their whatever. So it's like it's so bizarre. Like I had somebody.
I mean, you want to use the powers of the universe to deliver that baby. Whether it's
let
just
the baby
like
decide.
Tidal pull on the planet, and there's so many energies. I mean, we only understand 4% of what's going on in the quantum world anyway. There's so many things that we don't even know about, cycles, and that baby's going to come when God wants that baby, not when man wants it to come. And then the whole problem with the birth process in a hospital setting is it shifts out of what it should be as a parasympathetic activity, and it shifts into sympathetic, and that's what shuts down a lot of labors.
Yeah, and like the oxytocin hormone works really close with melatonin, so they like the dark environment. And then if you're in the hospital or you have something like these lights, then you're automatically leaving that down-regulated state and coming into this like
right.
oh my God, this is not
and then
safe.
I've heard this stat too, like 20% of the time you go into a hospital, you're going to pick up some type of nosocomial infection.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you have, number one, I friggin' hate going to hospitals. I mean, I can't think of a place I would, the DMV's not on that list either. But I'd rather go to the DMV than the hospital any day, because hospitals smell funny to me.
They smell funny.
They are just, they're temples of death, and why somebody would have their baby there. I mean, I could see going to a birthing center that may have, as an alternative. Where
For sure.
But a hospital, but people are so programmed.
I think more and more there's going to be birthing center options.
Right. Which is good, I think.
Totally. Like, it gives people
because you do have situations where there's an emergency.
Yeah, and at least at a birthing center, some will have nitrous oxide or the potential to have IVs and stuff like that. But you go to some place like Alabama, like, there's nothing there for these women to choose from. They're, like, forced into certain decisions, and that's super sad.
Right. Now, we talked about, you got some questions? Okay, cool.
It says, any tips on mothers building healthy mitochondria to pass on?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I would say that goes a lot back to nutrition, and
yeah, of course.
The biggest thing is, like, know your blood levels, know what's in your blood. I've been sharing this with people. Like 2 years ago, I started working with a functional medicine doctor and basically tested all my blood levels and started doing a chelation, getting metal out of my body, and retesting that every 6 months. So if you know you're going to get pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant, like, definitely get your levels tested.
And then nutritionally, I think if you eat I've read Fat for Fuel by...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then also Dave Asprey's book, which is blanking on my name. What's the name of Dave Asprey's new book?
I don't know. I just got Rob Wolf's new book, Got Wired or Get Wired. It's about fat, ketosis.
Right. I mean, that's all about mitochondria, optimizing mitochondrial function.
Yeah. So eat real food.
Yeah, eat food. Stop eating shit. Don't drink fluoridated water.
Yeah.
I mean, chlorine. I mean, basically, what mitochondria are? They're like little bacteria that are in your cells, and if you're doing things that are toxic to them, like number one, stop drinking shit water. Stop drinking iced tea with ice cubes in it. Stop drinking anything that's made with tap water. So everything that I do is with pure water. Food, you want to stay away from anything that's going to have glyphosate in it, which is going to also kill the bacteria and also cause cancer and cause endocrine disruption. I mean, it's not like I use nutrition to treat things. I just try to get people to live congruent to gene expression and mitochondrial function.
Yeah.
Anything that you do outside of that. Okay, we got another question too. Hopefully I answered that question. You got anything else to add to that?
No, I would know where your food's coming from. Like, that's huge. Like, we buy all our food, our meats, eggs, produce, everything from the farmer's market. So we know the farmer, know the person that's giving us our lettuce, that sort of thing.
And Jane and I were talking about that today. Like, one of the main reasons I want to get a new house is I want to have a yard where we can grow our own food.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And,
yeah.
She wants to get a couple cows and milk cows and stuff. So, what is the latest you've seen someone give gestation-wise? Give birth gestation-wise?
43 weeks, yeah. I just had a mom go 42 and 5 the other day. In California, it's technically against the law to deliver a baby with a midwife past 42 weeks. So I forgot when this law was passed, maybe a decade ago. But that kind of sucks because some moms like hold babies for 43 weeks. Like, babies just cook for that long. Like, I have one mom that all 4 of her kiddos went to 43 weeks.
So let me ask you this question. How would they even know?
Right. So, midwives don't want to put that, like, they don't want to get in trouble.
I got it.
So sometimes you just got to fudge your conception date.
Exactly. Come on, man. I mean, this is not rocket science. There's a lot of things probably you need to fudge in this world, but I'm not going to go into that detail right now. I mean, you got to learn. The thing is, the game's getting really kind of like...
you got to look out for you.
Yeah, you got to learn, because Big Brother doesn't give a shit about you or your kids or, about... they don't want your kids healthy because then we got a whole other business here. Let's start vaccinating you, and then those are the kids that get ear infections, asthma, allergies, ADD, ADHD, and now we got all these new clients that we created from our vaccine process, and the fact that they didn't get proper microbiome going through the birth canal. And it's just crazy to me that people, they're just so resistant to seeing what's so blatantly obvious to you and I.
I know.
Yeah.
How do we wake them up?
Well, that's why we're doing what we're doing. Nature knows best. Does anybody else have any good questions out there? Jane, we got any more questions coming in? Because I know sometimes on your end. So you've got these birthfit things, I just noticed today, all over the country.
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
Magic. So back when I had this initial client, I started this blog based on my readings, and then I was doing the ICPA diplomat program, and I was like, oh, wait, I'm finding out so much information, like I need to write about this. And I would get messages from people, and all I had was drlindseymathews.com or my Facebook page, and that was it. And people would write and be like, oh, I read this mantra during labor, or this helped me so much on the postpartum side, or just this information was great to hear. And within that, somebody from North Carolina came up or sent me a message and was like, what are you doing? I need to be a part of it. I was like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, but for sure you can be a part of it. Yeah. We're changing the world. And she happened to be a chiropractor. And then she was like...
Can you say who it was or no?
Yeah, Dr. Lindsey Mathews.
Okay, cool.
And then Dr. Erica Boland from Wisconsin, she went and trained with the Prague School of Rehab and pelvic floor, core health, and she's a physio chiro kind of person. And she's, I think, went to Life in the one in the center of the country.
New Zealand?
No.
Barcelona?
No. No, near, what's in Iowa?
Davenport.
Yes. Okay, so she went to Davenport. Palmer.
Okay.
She went there, then went to Prague, but she was like, I need to be a part of this. This is like right up my alley.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I don't have any kids. She was having number 4, she was having number 2. I was like, y'all know what's going on. And then another mom.
Y'all! There you got a little Texas coming out now.
Then a woman named Melissa, who at the time was in Florida, which I'm convinced all crazy shit happens in Florida.
Why is that?
Florida and California.
Oh, yeah, California, no question, man. There's no question about it.
But Florida has one of the highest C-section rates.
What's it like in California?
It changes. Like, so Cedars Hospital in Los Angeles, whenever I first started, they had like a 37% C-section rate. They've gone down.
What's it like at Hoag, do you know?
No, but...
I think it's high.
Yeah, I think so. If I remember correctly, somebody published something about one of the hospitals in Orange County calling out certain doctors with their C-section rate, and it got retracted real quick, or somebody got pissed that their C-section rates were broadcasted. And
they should be.
It's accountability.
Right.
Like, come on. But anyways, so that's how it started. People were like, I need in on this. I want to know. So I was like, well, you can be birthfit North Carolina. You can be birthfit Wisconsin. And we started classes. We started a birthfit prenatal series, a birthfit postpartum series. And one's an education series. One is like postpartum rehab. And they're both in group settings. So you start to get to know your community again. And then from there, it just grew. And
wow,
yeah.
That's awesome. And then, I mean, obviously you're big on working out. You work out at the Deuce Gym, right?
Yeah, we have a gym in Venice, but
right. And I've been down there. A lot of meatheads down there too. The guy with the big beard, I'm blanking on his name.
Tate.
Right? Yeah, Tate. I saw a picture with you because I was kind of like trying to get some information for the talk tonight or for our discussion here. But I mean, again, to me, this is like not rocket science. You look at hunter-gatherers, back in the day would be the female. I mean, is that being sexist if I say that? No, it's just the way it is. I mean, they got exercise and they didn't sit on their ass all day. And
they were constantly moving.
Right, and I say this all the time. The physicality or the physique of a hunter-gatherer was that of an elite Olympic athlete. So that's why birth was probably simpler back in the day, because now we have people that are not only not in shape, they may be obese, they have probably nerve pressure from sitting and all the things. So everything that you teach is really just, again, common sense. But specifically, what do you really try to, training-wise, what do you try to really get across to pregnant women?
Well, in their physical, like fitness training,
Yeah.
So we look at stamina, endurance, strength, range of motion, and
Perfect.
balance.
Oh my God, stamina. You need stamina, huh?
Well, you don't know if birth's going to be 3 hours or 3 days. Like,
Right.
you're going into the
I
unknown.
never even thought about stamina. But it's true.
It really is, and
Because you got somebody that probably couldn't even walk like a half mile without passing out. You know?
totally, totally. And if you can't hang on for 3 hours, then what are we going to do during labor? Like, that's going to be tough.
Right. And the average person.
Well, the average labor in the United States for the first time mom is anywhere from 16 to 24 hours.
Wow.
So you got to at least last a whole day.
Right. I mean, it's a definite physical workout.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not like, just pushing the grocery cart around the
Right.
grocery
So,
store.
so our training varies. Like, if you're training with us online, there's 42 weeks of training that I program, and it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. It starts with breath work, meditation, and then you get into like some rehab specific movements, like kettlebell-ish. Maybe you have a dumbbell, or like stuff to enhance motor patterns. And then we do something called the functional progression, which was basically invented by Dr. Erica Boland. And the functional progression is super brilliant. I'll take a time out and just talk about this, because her training is from the Prague School of Rehab. And since I graduated, I've done training there as well.
You went to Prague too?
No, I studied under somebody that came here.
Oh, okay, cool.
And what they look at is basically human movement from the first day of life through them being able to walk and upright against gravity. So if you take a baby in the U.S., maybe Texas, wherever, a baby in London, a baby in China, a baby in Russia, wherever, and you put them, and don't interfere with anything. Like, don't put them in a bouncer, don't put them in a bumbo, don't put them in any of that shit. And you just let them be curious and have their own internal motivation. They're all going to go through and learn how to move through these developmental milestones, and they're going to hit them all in the same sequential order.
Okay.
So that's what the functional progression is modeled after, because every human being should be able to go through these developmental milestones movements, no matter if they're 18 months old or 60 years old.
Right.
So postpartum, we were seeing like, okay, people can't move postpartum, and they sure as hell shouldn't go back to their CrossFit gym 6 weeks postpartum, or even go back on a run 6 weeks postpartum, because most of the time the core situation's not, like, it hasn't been healed.
Right.
So
And this is with the natural childbirth even?
yeah,
Okay.
for sure. And this goes a lot, the healing is a lot more efficient with the natural childbirth,
course.
but everybody needs to heal and set a solid foundation on the other side.
Right.
So we broke this down, and like, Erica is a genius, and she saw this through all the work, core and pelvic floor work that she does, and she just put it together: functional progression 1, transition, functional progression 2, 3, and 4. And basically, we break those down and use those as movement meditation. And so that's part of every daily training that we do. And if you watch a baby, they can nail the functional progression.
Wow.
I know, bananas.
Yeah.
But that's our training day. And then we get into like some strength, some conditioning, and then some accessory work. And if we start to progress through pregnancy, like maybe we're around weeks 25 through 32, which is a really good opportunity to get mom and baby in position for birth, then we'll do more stuff on our hands and knees. We'll do stuff more inverted, more like bear crawls, animal movement type of stuff.
Okay, so what's your opinion on all the ultrasounds?
Oh, I think they're not great.
Right, of course. That's a nice way of saying it.
We
But
could
how
do without them.
Right, but I think the big question is if
They're not accurate.
they're not,
No, like, and
as far as what's concerned.
well, so the biggest thing is people want to see the size of their baby.
Why does
And
that matter?
because they have OB-GYNs that will start telling them as early as 32 weeks,
They'll start
your
brainwashing
baby's
them already.
looking big,
Yeah,
and it's
the head's
like,
too big, man. God screwed up again.
yeah.
But I think my only question was, how would you tell if a baby's breech and it's going to be?
Well, midwives can feel this.
They can.
Yeah.
Okay, and it seems to me that would be very easy to do. I mean, you should
Yeah,
be able
especially if you've touched a couple
to.
hundred
Right, it's just
bellies.
like us feeling spines
yeah.
after a while. It's like we can feel things.
Totally.
It's like I always say, it's like you watch Elton John play the piano or something. It's not like he has to think about the keys. It's
No,
all
but
just
he knows.
natural. Right,
like,
right,
and you
right.
could palpate a spine and
Right.
know exactly.
You just feel
yeah.
the energies where it's locked up. I mean,
Totally.
it's hard for some of the science heads to understand that kind of stuff because they're
No,
stuck
it's
in
so
numbers and
true.
shit. Right.
But yeah.
So
they-
you basically you don't even feel there's any need for ultrasound. I mean, I don't understand why people would fry their baby's DNA, but that's just the way I
Yeah,
think.
I like. If I was pregnant right now, I wouldn't do any ultrasounds. I wouldn't want to know if it's a boy or a girl.
Why? That's the craziest
Yeah,
reason to do it, man. Why would
but-
you subject your baby to some type of outside,
But you give people the information, they make their choices.
That's ridiculous. I can understand if there's some reason. Is there any medical reason that people need to have an ultrasound?
I mean,
Like some
the
people say
biggest,
high risk,
Yeah, and the biggest thing is just to check the health and of the baby. And the earlier that happened, well, I don't even think there's an appropriate time for ultrasound, but the closer you get to the due date, the more inaccurate they are with the weight or the size of the baby.
I would think that the earlier you do ultrasound, the more damage it would do.
Right, that's what I would think too.
I mean, I don't know,
So-
just from a common sense standpoint.
Yeah,
Again,
so I don't think there's like an optimal time to confirm any health or.
And what is
Yeah.
the percentage of false positives you would get from an ultrasound if you said they're not that accurate?
Well, false positive as in size and everything.
I don't know.
It's a lot.
Were
Yeah.
they inaccurate on size? Is that what it is?
Totally. Like
Okay.
that's the biggest thing people use ultrasound right now for, and it's like,
It's not
it's-
just to milk
yeah.
an insurance company for a little extra
well, I'm
money.
sure.
I mean, what do they charge for an ultrasound?
Oh, I don't know the answer to
Yeah,
that.
okay, I don't either. But it seems like the reason we got some questions. Oh, good. Who's got some questions out there?
Says from Michelle Alonso was induced at 37 weeks due to cholestasis.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to avoid this?
That's one of those that probably not. Yeah.
Okay, explain to the audience what cholestasis is.
It has to do with something in the liver, and it's one of those rare complications that, like, if you have a mom in your office, she might present with a lot of itching or on her hands and her feet,
Okay.
and that's one of those things that you're like, okay, like, let's go check this out further.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's obviously sometimes where medical intervention, and I've already said
Totally.
that about. I mean, I've said that about medicine all the time. They do a great job when it comes to emergency, when it comes to crisis.
Yeah,
you
but
break-
don't abuse it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not healthcare.
Right.
It's actually what it is. It's medical crisis care, and they do a great job at that.
Right. Like, unfortunately for that
You got another
that
question?
woman, she probably they could have helped her out emotionally. You know?
Yeah. Okay. And what about diet? Would that have an effect on it too, maybe, or is it too late?
I think at that point it's
It's
yeah,
probably too late. But if she would have been eating right before.
maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the other question, Jane?
From Matthew Allen, with an increase of C-section rates, do you think it's possible to unlearn physiologically and emotionally how to deliver naturally? Innate will always guide, but what if the unawoken can't access the intelligence because they've been fed this allopathic scare tactic? Would you say birthfit helps and encourages strong mamas how to connect with their source and their earthly power from innate?
What a poem there, Matthew. Good
Yeah.
job.
So I'd like to say, like, fitness, nutrition, chiropractic, and mindset are the 4 pillars. But the more work I do and the longer that I'm in the maternal care system, the more I see that mindset is like the foundation.
Oh my God.
And if there's not a growth mindset,
You mixer.
if there's not even the possibility of like change or embracing the obstacle or, learning from mistakes or failures or anything that's in the way, then that whole journey is going to be a fixed mindset game,
Right.
and you already know the outcome.
Right.
So
You see that dealing with just people in general within your
Totally,
practice. I mean, you got somebody
totally.
that comes in and I mean, I was just reading this the other night. The best probably medical procedures that's ever been invented is the placebo effect. If somebody actually thinks
Yeah.
they're going to get positive
For
benefits
sure.
from it, and you're not poisoning them or killing them with the intervention, then that's way better. I mean,
Yeah.
even if they say chiropractic is placebo, which I know it's not. I mean, we know, but
There's research
that always
out there.
helps.
Yeah, for sure.
What's that book that Dispenza wrote? It's called The Placebo Effect, or yeah, it's a good book for people to read. It's all about, yeah.
Yeah, so mindset's huge, and just like in our birth education series, we communicate on the first day, like the history of birth in America, and it's like they didn't even do the first C-section study till 1993, and
You got to be kidding me.
no, the year the internet came out, the year the OJ trial was, like that is when the first, did I say first epidural study? But they didn't even complete the study because they felt it was unethical because everybody was ending up in a C-section. But they've gone and since done more epidural studies. But that, like 1993, that was the first epidural study. And like that, there's not a lot of history there. And for people to put all their eggs and money in one basket, being the hospital or the white coat or whatever, just doesn't make any sense when, you know, traditions have passed down knowledge for centuries.
Right.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of time, really, if you think
Yeah.
about it. I mean, I don't want to get too deep with that kind of stuff. All right, so we got mindset, we got nutrition, we got obviously the chiropractic, and then nutrition. Should I say that twice?
Fitness, nutrition, chiropractic, mindset.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And what about sleep, though, too? I mean,
I would think sleep falls in nutrition and mindset. Like,
okay.
it's definitely a must.
Okay.
For sure. You got to start to embrace your cycles, especially women.
And then you got meditation in there, too. That's going to be
Mindset,
mindset.
yeah.
And then what about grounding? Do you think that's important, too?
It's a mindset, yeah.
Mindset, okay.
Totally.
I've got another question.
Yeah, any effects of beneficial magnetism on pregnancy?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that, but I mean, I would think for sure benefits.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as the home delivery and home births, I'm just coming up with these questions as we talk. Water, no water. Tell me what. Is that a tough question or?
That's like an internal debate within the like home birth setting or home birth.
I like internal debates. What's your opinion?
Well, I don't think I would give birth in the water. I think
think about it. I mean, how many hunter-gatherers jumped in a tub?
A pool, yeah, or I might get in. They might get in the river or somewhere to relax and to like help ease the discomfort, and just because you don't know how long labor is gonna be. Maybe you'll spend some time in a bath or a shower or whatever. But I kind of visualize standing up, squatting, moving around.
Right.
There's a great book called Active Birth by Janet Velasquez, and it talks about using gravity to your advantage.
Of course.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Right?
Right. Another thing, another common sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a great book, super easy read. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so this was gone long, but there's so much good information here. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Well,
Yeah.
can I do?
Yeah, if
can
anything
I,
you want to wrap it up, tell me what it's
So-
going on. They usually do a half hour, but we've still got people going.
So I usually tell people whenever I speak at our seminars or little 1 hour, free hour things, like we've been trained in our society to think of women, like pregnant women, as these fragile beings, when they're these freaking superheroes.
Exactly.
Like they got pregnant, their physiology's changing. By the end of pregnancy, they're gonna operate as the most efficient human being ever, like as track and field stars at the Olympics. Like that's
Why do you say that? Just because of the...
their like blood volume capacity, oxygen binding capacity, all that's just overdrive.
Right, but
And-
that's not everybody, though. That's going to be
No,
those that
those
follow
people-
your program.
yeah,
Right. And
yeah.
You take the average person that's eating friggin' crap and not
They might not
moving.
be so good.
No, and they're watching TV and getting
But for the
brainwashed by their
most part,
pediatrician. What's your opinion about pediatricians?
I mean, I don't think you need them.
Exactly. Jesus. What I mean, I
That's
mean,
my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, what do you need them for? I mean, again, all they're there to instill fear and push the friggin' dope. It's just like I had a patient that
Yeah.
delivered their baby just last Wednesday, and they've already been prepped. They know the vaccine story, and that's all they do. I go, why did you go?
Yeah.
I mean, what can a
Especially
pediatrician
in
do?
California.
What can they tell you?
Yeah.
And even if they did
they're
tell you
so
something, what are you gonna
trained. Yeah, they're so trained to, hey, interview your pediatrician before so that they know you, so that they have you on the list, and you'll be in their office as soon as you have the baby. And it's like, wait, but what? Why?
And the thing that's sad is that, my patient that was here, he's obviously male, and his wife was at home with the baby. He said that, they left there, and the mom was crying. That
Yeah.
it's just like she got interrogated by the friggin' mafia, about this, just putting fear in it. It's like they have no questions, no fears. And that fear is going to translate to that child because, I mean, the child's very dependent on a mom's emotions, I'm sure, too.
For
I mean,
sure.
come on, man. I mean, this is just like...
For 100%, for at least the first year of life.
Right, and probably throughout life.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have human interactions on a daily basis. Whether we can taste it or translate it or not is a whole different issue.
Yeah.
But I think just going to the pediatrician is actually a negative, in my opinion.
Right, and I forgot who said this. It might did a birthfit podcast with the ladies of Vaxxed last year.
Yeah.
And I think it was one of them that said this, like, you can always choose to vaccinate, but you can never
Choose to unvaccinate. Right.
And that first year of life is so important for the small human, and they are figuring out life. They're starting to integrate with the world around them, but they're doing that through you. Like through their mom, through whoever they're touching,
Right.
they're breathing with.
And the physiology affects the breast milk and everything.
Totally.
Right.
So the best thing you can do is to keep that baby skin to skin or as close to you as possible, breastfeed, and just make them a part of your life. Like if they're stuck over here in a bumbo or a jumpy thing and loaded up with drugs, then they don't really have a choice to be their most optimal version of themselves, and that is ultimately what made me start BirthFit, was because we got to change the world for the children.
Right.
But then I was like, wait, but it's in utero, like it goes back even further. And if you want to go back even further, it goes back to the freaking last generation, like my mom's generation and my grandma's generation, like all that plays a part. And the emotional trauma that we carry, the health that we carry in our gene expression, it's wild.
And sometimes it's hard for me to really accept the medical model because they don't take any, they look at you as just this machine with no emotions, and we're going to just do this to the machine and cut these parts and drug that part and stuff. It's rather than looking at a person holistically like we do in chiropractic, and in making sure that we just create the best environment all around through chiropractic, through nutrition, through exercise, and obviously being happy, which creates other chemistry in the body and certain physiology is going to create a greater birth. All right, Nick, we about due?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to drop your website again?
Yeah, drop your website again.
Birthfit.com.
Okay.
Sounds
Lindsey
just like
Mathews.
it's spelled.
All right.
Yeah, go check it out, birthfit.com. We have a free podcast, lots of free webinars, blogs. Like soak up the information.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, the podcast I did with you wasn't too.
No, people loved it. In fact, I think Leah from BirthFit Houston's watching. She says you're her second favorite human now.
After you.
Yeah, hopefully.
And chiropractors out there, if they want to get involved too, I mean.
Yeah, so if you are a female chiropractor or male,
I mean, male, right?
totally.
Don't be friggin'.
But we're all females right now.
Are you? Why is that?
No males.
Maybe I'll be the first
up.
male. I'll be the first male bald chiropractor. You make me get a wig or something.
You might have to wear it now. It would be good.
All right, cool. I mean, I don't see why. I mean, why can't a guy teach this stuff?
He could.
I would think it's more of a nurturing thing, though.
Yeah, and I think the socialization, the support,
Right. I get it.
But you can be a birth
But I have
professional.
a midwife couple that.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they're male and female, and I think that's good because the male should be participatory in the
for
whole birth
sure.
process too. So it's probably good to have a male as a support in the whole birth process.
Right,
as
and
well.
take them along the journey because they're changing as well.
Right.
I did a podcast with a couple last week, and the guy shared his experience as much as she did, and he was awesome. He was like, "Go learn as much as you can,
Right.
like embrace it."
All right. Anything else in closing?
No.
And you're going to be at the clubhouse coming up in September, Jane. I just with Jeremy Brook.
Just wrote that down, huh?
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off unless anybody has any last-minute questions. I don't think we do. Birthfit Dads, Lacey Wilson.
There she is.
Yeah. Who's this?
She's
Leah.
yeah,
She's
you're
on
her second favorite person.
All right. Thank you, Leah. I appreciate that. Where does she practice?
Houston.
All right,
She's
Houston.
not a chiro, but she believes in it.
Well, she should go to chiropractic school.
She's a
You hear that,
coach.
Leah? Okay, good. Well, it wouldn't hurt to have a little extra chiropractic in her life. All right, signing off live with the beautiful and very intelligent, articulate, everything great about her, Lindsey Mathews, all the way from...
I like to say from Venice, through Venice, but originally from Texas.
Right.
Yeah. From Texas by way of Venice.
All right. Signing off. Sending out some love. Stay away from those hospitals. Stay away from those pediatricians. That's just what I say. What do you say?
Yeah.
You're a little bit more...
I'll like reserve my opinion until people really want to know, but just do you.
Yeah, do you. All right,
Yeah.
that's a better way. Just do you. All right, signing off. Peace out, Billy D. and Dr. Lindsey Mathews.
The Cal Jam Network is your all-access pass to Cal Jam all year long. The site hosts hundreds of videos and endless chiropractic content. The network is a great resource for anyone passionate about chiropractic health. Visit this newly renovated Cal Jam streaming service at caljamnetwork.org.